So good morning, Jordan. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Again, we're on our talk show, or my talk show, Talking Track, and we're getting to know the stories of athletes and just kind of hearing their perspective and their success stories, basically. So, how did you and track and field meet?
I started doing track and field 4 years ago, and I got into it from the school meets. So I started doing long distance events like 800 meters and 1500 meters. I didn't start doing the events I do now until much later.
Okay. And so, what got you into running the longer distances? Is it something you just did before, or
I think
just
it's because I did cross country, and I did pretty good in that. So I figured it would just be best to continue doing the longer distance races because it was more used to what I already did.
okay? And what region of Canada are you in?
I'm in Ontario.
Okay. So is track and field like a dominant primary sport for athletes or
Maybe not a primary sport, but it's still pretty big.
okay. And so how did you transition into the jumping events, field events and hurdles?
It was actually my dad that suggested I try triple jump, and also my one of my coaches suggested I do high jump, and hurdles I wanted to do myself.
Okay. And so when you started with the triple jump, I mean, it's typically an event that no one's ever seen before. Every athlete that I've come across, they're like, what is that? So what was your first type of experience like with triple jump?
I had a similar reaction. I wasn't really sure what it was. I actually ended up learning how to do it in our basement. So my first ever meet, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I think I got some jump in the 7 meters, so it wasn't very high, but I enjoyed doing it and wanted to continue.
And what age did you start the triple jump?
I started doing triple jump when I was 11.
Okay. And so is triple jump a big event in Canada? I mean, the history shows it's not the most dominant when it comes to triple jump, but it's getting better each year. Um,
But yeah,
yeah.
it's not the most popular event, but there's still a fair amount of people that do it.
Hmm. And so when you got into triple jump, what were your progressions like? What did you see each year? How did that go?
I was seeing like every year I was improving about a meter. So I started at 7 meters, and then in about a year I was jumping high 8 meters, and then 9 meters, 10 meters, and so on and so forth.
Nice. So what about the triple jump do you enjoy? I mean, you've obviously been sticking with it. What do you like about
Uh, I enjoy the competitiveness of it because a lot of times you see the same people, you're competing against the same people every time. So it's nice to see people you know and compete against them and like beat each other each time. It's a nice, friendly competition.
it? Nice. And so talk about the differences between triple jump and long jump and how the competition changes.
I find triple jump is a much more technical event, whereas long jump for me is, well, not for me, but I find in general, if you're just really fast or a really good jumper, you can go far in long jump, whereas in triple jump, it's much more technique based with the step
Mm.
especially.
So talk about your timeline. You started with the 800 and the mile, then you went to triple jump and other events. How did you get introduced to those events, and how was your progression in those events specifically?
Okay, so initially when I started triple jump, it was because my dad wanted me to do it. So I just started doing it, and I enjoyed it, and I continued. Hurdles, it was a similar thing, except I also wanted to do hurdles. That time I had no idea what triple jump was, but I did know what hurdles was. And for my first meet, I'd only practiced it once, so I didn't really know what it was, but I won my race. So I just stuck with it. I did pretty good in it. Then high jump, I didn't want to do it at all. For some reason, I thought I was going to get hurt or something, but I ended up doing it, and I was also pretty good at that one. But I think the difference between that and triple jump is triple jump. I think I've always been more like the technical side of it has always been like my best part of it. Whereas high jump, I think my technique, because I've never had a coach for it up until like really recently, my technique was not really good. It was just my pure jumping that got me over the bar.
Mm. And so did you come from any other sports before that? Did you play soccer or
Yeah,
anything like
beforehand
that?
I played soccer, not competitively, but I did play soccer.
Okay, because I realize a lot of athletes have tried other sports, and then the ones that stick with track just found something different and unique with the sport. So talk about just your experience with, because you're in Canada. So for us in the States, we just all of a sudden think that there's a change within the sport. So how is it when it comes to school and sports? Do they kind of pair up together and kind of go in depth with that?
I found that this is my first year in high school and the track season has been canceled. So I haven't really got to experience the high school track, which is where it's big here. But I find in an elementary, it wasn't really big at all, especially in the area I live. Because in Toronto, which is a much bigger city than where I am, they actually have multiple meets, like qualifier meets and like championship meets, whereas here they only have one meet and it's not very competitive. Most of the kids there have never done track before. So it's sort of just leisurely.
So did you get a chance to do any high school meets at all?
None at all.
Not at all, man. So that cut you short early, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I would ask you, what the difference is between club and high school. But I guess let's start with that one. What's club track and field like where you are?
Well, I haven't been on like a proper club for a long time with a bunch of people in it because my old club, Milton Shock, actually shut down, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And then I've started competing in a club that's just me and my friend that my dad started because here for the championship meets, you need to have a registered club. So we registered Milton Leap Squad, and then that's what I've been competing under ever since.
Nice. And talk about the name. Why Milton Leap Squad?
My dad named it that based off of your club Leap Squad because you've helped out a lot.
Well, I really appreciate that. It's been cool because, this is our first time officially speaking in person. But your dad and I have had numerous conversations about, what your training regimen should be and how we should adjust some things. And what type of dad or coach dad is your dad?
He's very involved. He tries to help out a lot. Like, he makes sure I get the work done and actually stay focused. And he goes to meets with me and acts as my coach because I don't really have any coaches that are able to go to meets. So he's sort of like a dad and a coach. He helps with both.
Yeah.
But also gives me tips.
And how are you enjoying that? Does he ever cross the line sometimes with over coaching and over dadding?
I think the only time I ever have a problem with that is during high jump. For some reason in high jump, I tend to get a bit annoyed sometimes. So I'll sort of just be like, stop talking or something.
Come on! Let's go! 5 more! 5, 6, 3 more! Come on!
Every rep counts. Train stronger, recover faster with Compex Muscle Stim. Visit CompexUSA.com.
So talk about how, obviously, if you have your dad as a coach and it's just you and a couple friends a part of this new track club, how do you get yourself prepared at practice for these bigger championship track meets?
Okay, so for meets, like for preparations, I work out at home with like weights and stuff. We go to tracks to practice things like hurdles and triple jump. I also have a triple jump coach now, who I started working with last spring. And I also have I started working with a high jump coach just recently, but we haven't been able to work on much because of coronavirus.
Yeah. And so what do you hope your next 4 years of track to kind of be like? How do you expect this progression to go? Do you expect to go beyond high school?
Yeah, I think it would be nice to continue beyond high school. Here where I live, the top high school championship is called OFSA, and it'd be nice if I could win that. And hopefully all years, that would be nice. But
nice. So what are your PRs as of right now?
Right now in triple jump, my best is 12 meters and 57 centimeters. In 60-meter hurdles, it's 9.22 seconds. In long jump, it's 5:50. And in high jump, it's 1.65 meters.
What's your season like in the club? Is it other track meets every week? Is it more selective on your meets? How is that?
I'd say usually we'd go to meets every week or every 2 weeks. A bit back and forth based on our schedules.
Okay. And then do you guys have a lot of meets to attend just to spectate? Is there a big college circuit out there as well?
Not really. I've never been to a meet just to spectate.
What are some of your top schools that you would be interested in going, or your dream schools for colleges you would love to compete for?
To be honest, I've never really thought about that. I don't know any of the top schools locally. I don't know many schools in the US, so I have no idea.
Sounds like you got some homework to do. Okay, so let's say you live this perfect life. You know, you're healthy all the years through high school. You improve to numbers. You go through college and you do really well. Do you see yourself beyond college competing as a professional athlete?
I could see that if I'm doing good enough and I'm able to keep it up. I'd like to do that.
In what event?
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it in all of them, but I understand it's probably more difficult. So I think my top two would probably be hurdles and triple jump.
Nice.
It's hard to choose between those two.
Yeah. I did both, so yeah, I can completely understand that. So tell me one of your most memorable track and field experiences.
I think for me, my most memorable experience is when I was competing for Team Ontario in a Ontario versus Quebec meet, and I won the triple jump and got a personal best.
Wow. So you represented is it region?
Province.
Yeah, Providence. Wow. So when was that?
It was a few months ago in February.
Okay. So you're coming off of basically a regional or national type of championship, right?
Yeah.
So how many notable awards do you have like in your room, you know, trophies, medals, things like that?
Medals, I have quite a lot. I have quite a lot of medals because I've been doing it for quite a few years. I'd say I've been consistently getting like top 3. So I have a lot of medals. In terms of like other awards, when I was on Molten Shock, I got Athlete of the Year once. Other than that, that's about it.
Nice. And so what would you consider your work ethic is at the moment? Like 10 being you're die hard, you wake up, eat, sleep, track, or, you know, 1 being I just show up to track meets and I just win.
I'd say it's been, especially recently, maybe a 7. Because even now with Corona, I've still been going out and training, trying to do it like every day, every other day.
Nice. And then it sounds like you've lived the perfect track and field life so far. You know, as a track and field veteran, I would say there's going to be a time where you're going to have adversity or some challenges. Have you dealt with any so far?
I think for me in high jump specifically, I've had a lot because I've never really had a coach and I've only ever been able to practice while competing at meets. It's really hard for me to like actually practice because I don't have the mat or the bar to practice on. So I find it's really difficult for me to improve and get better at high jump.
What is something that you enjoy doing outside of track and field?
Outside of track and field, I like playing soccer just for fun with my friends, and I also play a lot of video games. I can play a lot of musical instruments. I can play piano and I can play the saxophone, tenor saxophone.
What would you say to a athlete who's starting track, a youth athlete? What should they expect and what should they be focused on as a new incoming athlete?
I would just recommend to keep trying out all the events, see which ones you like. Because for me, I started with events that I wasn't so good at, but then I kept working at it. I tried new events and I found something I liked and something I was good at.
Nice. And so when you have an athlete who is still fairly new, what do you suggest they eat before a track meet?
I'd say the day before, I usually eat pasta, so I'd recommend something like that. But then I'd say the day of, try and eat more light. Don't eat too much like heavy food.
And then how do you deal with nervousness? I mean, you're saying you improve 3 feet every year. You compete at the national level. Do you get nervous at all?
It's not as bad as it used to be. I used to be, especially on the start line of a race, I'd be quite nervous. But I'd say after doing it so much, it's not that bad anymore.
So my question now is, everything that you've been doing so far is going to continue. You're going to keep winning. You're going to keep jumping far. People are going to want to follow in your footsteps. What should they do in order to continue being successful?
I would just say to keep working hard at it. Don't stop. Even if like you have a few like bad meets or bad performances, just keep working on it.
Nice. Well, very good. I think you've inspired me to continue to just see everything in the positive light and keep training. You're really excited about track and field. You're passionate about it. I can see it. And hopefully everyone that is watching this will continue to see all the positives and continue training and take your advice to get them as far as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, Jordan, well, great talking to you. Tell your dad I said hello. And we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.